Welcome to the Dave Pamah Show, the podcast that revives, restores, and awakens your innermost capabilities.
You have the training and the talent to succeed, but do you have the guts to fail?
I love what I do. When you love what you do, you want to be the best at it.
Today is about the power of you. You will change the world.
Find your path to success through the journey of those who have succeeded. And now, your host, Dave Pamah.
Hi, welcome back to the Dave Pamah Show. And my guest today is Stacie Shifflet, an entrepreneur who acquired a 50 million software company with zero upfront capital, helped launch the first IBM desktops inside a major federal agency, built and rebuilt multiple businesses, and even raised llamas, survived devastating personal loss, and after the end of a 28-year marriage, discovered that true reinvention isn't starting over, it's finally becoming who you were always meant to be. Stacie Shifflet, welcome to the Dave Pamah Show.
Thanks, Dave. I'm so happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. That sounds really amazing what you've achieved there. When you look back at the moments that truly shaped you, or reshaped you, I should say, from acquiring a massive company with no money to personal loss to the end of your marriage, what was the inner shift that changed how you saw yourself? And how did that realization ultimately lead to modern consciousness and your treasure map to joy?
Well, many times over in my lifetime, I have been in different industries and reinvented myself and just sort of followed my intuition and what I was drawn and called to do, I suppose. After my marriage ended, I had a construction company at that time, another one of the things that I have done over the years. We were framers building apartment buildings in Washington, D.C. But it really, that experience removed the foundation of my life, right? It imploded, it was gone, there was no going back. So I had to make a very difficult decision, right? The first collaboration book that I did with Les Brown, my story in that book is called The End of Me, and it's really the emotional framework that I went through, right? I felt like Humpty Dumpty had fallen off the wall, and here were all these bits and pieces, and how was I going to put them back into a whole human being again? And it set me out on a very deep personal development mission, where I tried many things and studied many things and read many books and began to understand not only myself better, but to understand the condition of the human being better, right? How we operate. You learn all kinds of things. I'm sure you have too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
When you get into this world. And I started, being conscious about embodying the changes a little bit at a time. And through that process, the idea and the inspiration for modern consciousness came through me, actually, to me and through me. So,
yeah. No, that sounds amazing. There's quite a lot that you did achieve and accomplish. I was quite, I could say, impressed by the zero budget you had, for a 50 million pound. How did you manage to pull that off?
Honestly, at that time, I was a subject matter expert in that field of U.S. federal government acquisition.
Yeah.
I had been in that field for a number of years. I used to work for that company, and I wasn't working for them at the time, but honestly, I just woke up one morning and said, I need to buy this company, not really knowing what that meant, right? I'm self-taught. I don't have a college degree. I don't have experience with mergers or acquisitions or any of that.
Yeah.
But I didn't tell myself no. My curiosity led me to call one of the owners, and they had just listed the company with a broker for sale. So at that point, I was disappointed at first, but I didn't have the money to buy a company. So it worked out. my vision, if you will.
Yeah.
That did have some M&A experience, and he did have an MBA, and we actually were working together at the time, and we put together a pitch deck and started pitching it to investors. It took us 9 months. You can imagine that I was called a few things along the way, some of them being crazy, a cashless investor, so on and so forth. But we did it. It took 9 months, and we did it, and we had our choice of
Is that pretty
investment
quick,
firms
9
to
months?
work with. Was it a quick 9 months?
No,
Yeah.
no. Is it pretty quick to do that sort of thing in 9 months?
You know, I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I actually have no idea.
Doing business is not your field, then. It's just actually.
But I can tell you that nobody else did that acquisition within that time frame.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So we did it.
Yeah, I do remember IBM. Actually, there's one in London, and there where I grew up on the South Bank by the River Thames. So, yeah. So tell us your story then before you got kind of into all this, and then we can jump into your
before I got into
to jump into
modern consciousness, or
that exactly. Yeah, well, your story, but just your humble beginnings right up to modern consciousness, your book, and then we can
yes
talk about the book a little bit.
Yes, I am from pretty humble beginnings. A middle class family that was well structured and close. That provided a lot of support and teaching and opportunities. My mom was probably one of my biggest fans. She always told me I could do anything that I wanted to do. I did some things that she probably was not the happiest about as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't.
I guess she was around 14, 15 years old, like everyone else does. That's the sweet spot of doing something rebellious,
Yes, well,
Me too. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'd have to say they probably weren't, thrilled when I quit college. But
Oh, right.
I didn't realize this until much later in life. I have a very high value of self-actualization. I like to be out in the world and do things and experience things and have those experiences myself, so that I can speak from learned experience rather than somebody else telling me. So it's been quite the adventure. And as you mentioned, I've been in the hospitality business, which is a nice way of saying I was waiting tables and tending bar, and acquired a technology company. I was a subject matter expert in a field. When I did the implementation of the first desktops throughout the entire Department of Health and Human Services, I had just switched from the restaurant business into technology without any experience.
What era was that in then? Just give me an idea, maybe everyone else.
Yeah, that was late 70s, probably.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. That's quite interesting.
Probably it was going to be the early 80s, because I got married in 1983, and that's when I made the decision that, I better get a job more conducive to married life, right? Instead of working nights and weekends. Yeah,
so, well, restaurants to computers, that would have.
Yes.
As you know, I worked as a firefighter. That was my main job, but I took gap fill trying to get into the fight. It can take time to get. It's just a hard job to get into sometimes. You have to wait sometimes a couple of years for the recruitment.
Absolutely.
And I was working for a software company at that time, and it was mainly Apple and Microsoft. And there's a language called BASIC.
Yes, I remember that one.
I did computer studies at school, so they taught us that, and obviously, binary and stuff like and they had the database like software and stuff like that on the floppy black discs.
I remember, man. I remember
that was in around 1982 83. So that wasn't my career my career to be, but I just remember that was my introduction to that. But go on. Sorry, I cut across that. So you made a switch to restaurant to.
I made a switch. It was actually a woman from my mom's church that gave me an opportunity, because when you're trying to make a switch like that when you're young, you're not always received very well, right? If you don't have the experience.
Okay,
so
that's quite. It's a bold move, but to be honest, it paid off, didn't it?
It did. And she had a small company. She was losing people. And I just kept stepping up from someone who had absolutely no experience to literally rolling out the first desktop computers to the entire department within about a year, right? I had a technical team that worked on site with me that built, put the hardware together.
Yeah.
And I did all of the training, all of the teaching, way back, right? What is it? Lotus 1, 2, 3 and WordPerfect.
Lotus, WordPerfect. That's what it's like. Word now. It's Word Word documents now, isn't it? It's the same thing almost, isn't it, really?
Yes. And that was my first foray into change management without knowing what change management really even was. So, yeah. Lots of experiences.
Yeah. And then there was mini frames and mainframe computers and stuff like that, wasn't there? Mm-hmm. Which IBM was actually one of the leading names of, really, wasn't it?
Yes, for many, many years, yes.
Yeah. So that's what, basically, you made that switch from restaurants and to computers, and then that's really what led you up to the sale where you bought the 50 million deal from Zero Capital. Talk us through that then, that journey.
Yeah.
So you're still in the, let's start with, you're still in the computer industry,
Yes.
Fast forward a bit from switching, making that switch.
I was an expert in federal government acquisition. So the company that I managed the acquisition of was in that same space, right? So I knew the space, I knew the people, so on and so forth. So it was a sweet deal. I got a wonderful employment contract and what they call sweat equity. So when they flipped the company in 5 years, I took my money. I chose to take my money and get out, and it was a life-changing sum. So it was. I'm going to say one of the biggest business things I have ever done in my life. Yes.
Wow. Is it the only business thing you done? I mean, you said you had a construction company, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
When they changed, when the company flipped again to a different set of investors, I was married at the time. My ex-husband was in construction.
Oh, okay.
He pointed out to me that there was a need in the District of Columbia for a particular type of contractor. Not woman-owned, but it was a certification program in the District of Columbia. And so I looked into that and started that business. And the business, we probably divorced a year after that. So.
A year after? Oh, wow.
Yes.
Sometimes they do say it ends in tears when you do business together like that. So.
Well, we weren't really doing business together. It ended
I see.
Business. But it was a good company. We were doing well. I truly was an owner, not an operator. I hired a COO that had experience to run it, and I had a small crew. We mostly did supervision. We subcontracted out a lot of the labor, most of the labor, and at one point I was like, oh my God, if I'd known my marriage was going to blow up, I wouldn't have started this company, right? But in hindsight, that's not true either, because that company afforded me both the time and the money, quite frankly, to take off and do all of the work that I did in the personal development field, right? I traveled with Tony Robbins for 2 years as a platinum partner.
Okay.
I've been to countless, seminars, and as I said, read books. And so I started to collect all of this information and learn things, and took up practices like, meditation and things like that.
Mindfulness, yeah.
Yes, mindfulness practices. And throughout that process, I was inspired with the idea for modern consciousness. So the name came to me, the theories and the aspects of modern consciousness came to me. I kept capturing all of that information, wondering sort of what was it. It was certainly fascinating, and it fascinated me. And I really resisted it for about 2 years. I just was like, I don't know why you're giving me all this information. I'm not your girl. I don't really want to start something else. But anyway, another day meditating, and I finally said, okay, what do you want? What do you want me to do? Because the idea just would not leave me alone. It's a mission-based business, mission-driven business. And I got one word, which was write. And I said, okay, I surrender. I don't know what you want me to write, but I will. And within an hour, I had a text message offering me a chapter in that book with Les Brown. At which point I wrote a big check, said yes, wrote a big check, and stepped into the project, realizing that I could bring this company together.
Oh, okay.
That's what happens when you surrender.
And the company got brought together, did it? Or?
Yes. At that point, in the process of writing that book, I realized that I could begin to formulate the company, start it, and launch it along with the book.
Yeah. And what's the company's name? Is that Modern Consciousness as well?
Modern Consciousness. Mm-hmm.
So it's the name of the company is the name of the book as well?
No, my book is Treasure Map to Joy.
Oh, right. Sorry. Oh, right. Okay. I got mixed up there.
My latest
the company's
book.
Modern Consciousness, and the Treasure Map to Joy is your latest book.
It is. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
One woman's journey from disruption to joy.
That's the subtitle of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a bit more then about the book, and then we can look at your company, what it's doing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The book is a parable, so it's a teaching story. It is centered along the themes of joy and how, I think we forget that joy is as unique to each of us as a fingerprint. We get to define what creates joy for us. We're so oriented externally from all of our teachings and beliefs and things that we think that we're supposed to be doing. We forget that we actually are responsible for ourselves and for our joy. I guess one of the biggest themes in the book is that loss is not a failure; it's a catalyst. If you allow it to be, right? We have to allow these things. We have to allow ourselves to be joyful. Even we have a relationship with joy, and we have a lot of choice. Life changes unexpectedly. It does for all of us. And we have to, how we respond to those things remain within our control. It's not always easy. It doesn't mean we don't grieve or what have you. And understanding our emotions, right? And using our emotional intelligence as our navigation tool.
Yeah.
And mostly being aligned, right? Through conscious reflection, intentional movement instead of just busyness. I think that when the momentum of our lives is creating the movement in our lives, right? When that's what's driving us forward, which is essentially saying that our busy schedules are driving us forward, we have lost intentionality and directing that to really accomplish the outcomes and achievements that we want to and what we want to experience, right? We forget about what we want to experience in life often.
Yeah.
We tend to define things in external terms. We're taught that. So
that's great. So Modern Consciousness, is that like a coaching business, or is it, how does that work?
Yeah, I have a coaching program. Mentorship.
Yeah, coaching and mentoring.
Yeah, I have a full program called Elevate Your Life. So I've taken, my life experiences.
Is that the name of the program as well?
Yes, Elevate Your Life.
Yeah.
And I'm a good analyst at heart, right? I'm very good at seeing the big picture and the details all at the same time and solving very, very complex problems.
Yeah. It comes from the computer background, I suppose, systems analysts and stuff like that.
It's actually just my natural mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I have applied that to the program. It's a very structural way. I know what I was witnessing through my journey is that so many come out of these seminars and these personal development experiences with lots of new knowledge and some new insights and epiphanies and breakthroughs, but we don't really know how to
implement it or take action. Yeah.
Right. How can you implement it efficiently and effectively? So that's what I work with my clients to do.
Yeah. That's it. That's basically what people want, really. I mean, obviously the motivational speaking stuff and that, it's just a feel good factor, isn't it? It's that little kind of, I think
it is. And we learn things. I learned a lot. So
yeah, that's what the book. Yeah, I mean, it does. It's information, education, isn't it? Really, so self-help education, isn't it? Really,
it is. And I think that My main goal and where I've kind of gotten in my life, I really do believe that peace of mind is our greatest personal asset. Now, knowledge is a prerequisite for that, but it's not just acquiring the knowledge, it's implementing and embodying what you've learned. And I really think that, our next best step is just to be the next best person that we can be.
Yeah.
And then we do that over and over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, fantastic. Well, Les Brown and Tony Robbins, you met them in person. So what was that like?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I've two big stars of mine. I mean, Les Brown is kind of, I'm trying to do what he does, but obviously in a different realm, because obviously I've come from the firefight. I've got my own book and put myself up for speaking, and doing pretty much what you're doing, really. Kind of philosophized about from those two people, because they're kind of the big giants in the life coaching.
They are. He's like the grandfather of personal development.
Yeah. Which one? Both of them, really.
Both of them, but I'd say probably Les would be the grandfather, and Tony is just a force. He is an amazing force. And has helped so many people, as has Les.
Yeah. Well, before we go, tell everyone where they can find out more about modern consciousness and your books, really, because it's not the only book you've got, is it, really?
No, I've got several collaboration books that I've done. I did one called Mindset Matters with Jack Canfield as well. So my website, modernconsciousness.com, is where you can find everything about the company and everything about me, including how to get in touch with me. There are some free resources that are available under my programs tab. And I am so convinced that clarity is what we need. And I have found that we generally come into things thinking, okay, this is the problem that we need to solve, and thinking that's going to turn around whatever it is, change our experience. And so what I have done is taken the first 2 modules of my Elevate Your Life program and package those into what I call the clarity sequence that you can do either with me or even on your own. That's very, very affordable, because, to get anywhere, you need to know where you are and where you want to go. And that's what that program is, the life assessment, to really say, where am I now? What am I loving about my life? What would I like to change? What would I like to experience less, more? And then aspirations. And I put that generally into the context of, what do I want to be feeling? What do I want to be experiencing? Am I really driving my life in the direction that I want it to go in, to support those things in full alignment with my dreams, my goals, my vision, and my values, right?
Absolutely.
We overlook our values.
Yes, definitely. That's the first thing we should be looking at as well.
Yeah.
As in one of my programs, it starts with that, your values and then your beliefs, because obviously you're not going to go nowhere if you don't believe you're going to do it,
and we all have beliefs, and, some we just have to reprogram them, as they say.
Yeah. And it's like, if your value is family and all of a sudden you go to the other side of the world and work forever, it's like, well, where's your family? Your values, right? It's actually not going to do yourself inside any good, because it's like, my family are,
but no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I'm just
do
giving a little
any
example.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep.
In fact, if family's not your thing, then it will work. It's like, I can get up and go anywhere in the world. People are like that. But
well, you just need to make sure all the stakeholders in your life, including all the different aspects of your life and the parts of you, are all we're all pulling in the same direction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, absolutely. Well, you know what? It's been really great speaking to you. We're on the same page with a lot of stuff here, and there's some of the greats and mentors that are out there are people I admire as well. And you've actually met them in person. I haven't. I want to get them on my show as well. It's really going to be hard work, isn't it, with the millions of people that want them on their show. So, but it's fantastic, Stacie. Stacie, I wish you the best of luck, and thanks so much for coming on my show and talking to me.
Oh, Dave, thank you so much for having me.
That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening, and remember, if you want to support what we do, then share, subscribe, and leave a review over on Apple Podcasts, or head over to my website, davepamah.com, and click on Rate Show. Well, that's all for now, but I'll see you in the next episode of The Dave Pamah Show.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.